Greetings, ladies and gents. Issey from Heathen Sen here. Welcome to my channel. Okay, today we've got a little bit of a different video for you. But before we get onto that, I'd like to first thank my subscribers. I hope you've been liking the content so far. And for the people who are just viewing my content so far, haven't been subscribed yet, please do. We've got many more fragrant videos like this coming to you soon. Now, let's get on to the video. So basically, as I said, this is a little bit of a different one where I'm actually sort of comparing two of the same fragrances, but from different years. Now, start off with the first one. So obviously we've got like a Issey Miyake L'Eau de Pour Homme Intense. Now this one is actually a batch, which is, let me see, from March 2011. And so I've had this for quite a bit. And this one I actually just bought a couple of weeks ago. And this one is actually, what was it, April 2020. So I thought, okay, well, go from my collection and everything like that, see like what my oldest bottle is, and sort of, you know, look up the badges and everything. Like I could barely see the number on this, you know, when I actually saw it. But anyway, so I went through it. I thought, okay, this is actually quite a bit old, because I remember getting it probably, it was like close to about 9 years ago. So it's been there for quite a while. It's been in storage and everything like that, as in, like, you know, it's been in the dark, been either on a shelf or, you know, in a drawer in the dark, cooler temperatures. So everything's, you know, obviously kept to par, you know, which is really good. So anyway, I sort of thought I'd go with, you know, an interesting subject over here, and this is the subject actually of maceration and maturation. Now, people like my viewers that don't really sort of know too much about like the processes of perfume making and everything, and just like the process of like perfume aging over time, I'm going to explain a little bit about it, because I mean, I've sort of been like studying it a little bit, not too much, but you know, enough to sort of get an idea of it. So first we've got maceration. That's the period once the perfumer has actually done the formula for the perfume, and then they're happy with it. And what happens is that formulation, the oils are left to sit in a, like, you know, cold temperature, in the dark, you know, and closed up for about, usually the, you know, rule of thumb is typically about like 2 or so weeks. And what happens in that time is the oils tend to sort of mix together, and sort of instead of like when you first smell it, when you just made the formula, you can really sort of make out the notes and everything like that. This is a way to sort of, for it to all sort of blend in together and sort of marry each other. And then after that, you got the maturation process. Now this term, I have noticed that it hasn't really sort of been used much, just because of the fact that, like, I don't know, like everyone seemed to sort of, a lot of people seem to use like the maceration term as like an umbrella term. But anyway, maturation. So what happens after that 2 weeks or so of the maceration process is basically, you know, the alcohol is added to the mix, and then once again it is blended together with the alcohol. So typically, a rule of thumb, you know, is like you'd sort of be like giving it about 6 weeks or so as a minimum. I mean, sometimes it can go up to like 6 months, even a whole year of the maturation process to actually sort of happen. And what's going on there is basically, obviously, when you put in the alcohol, it dilutes the formula and everything like that. And also the alcohol sort of helps the fragrance sort of project on your skin as well. So over that maturation period, what it does, it sort of tends to not only, you know, mix it with alcohol, but also it gets more potent over time. So depending on what kind of fragrance you've got, like if it's like a freshie or something like that, you're probably gonna need like maybe 6 to 8 weeks or something like that. But if it's something with like, you know, like rose or something like that, or like oud, you definitely want to sort of mature it more to get some more potency out of that, so you can get some more oomph, sorry, or power out of it. So anyway, so we're gonna go with this, you know, basically, I guess you could say this has been maturing for like a year, because I mean, got a couple of weeks ago, but obviously, you know, batch from like April 2020. And so this one being like, you know, what, a good 10 years of maturing? It's interesting. But I guess we could just go also with like, the bottles and everything like that, like, like any sort of differences, like over time, obviously you're gonna get obviously different batches, like maybe different bottles used, whatever. So like the only real differences I get is basically you get a bit of a darker bottle with this one. This one's a bit lighter, but you get the, I don't know, like I don't remember if it was like this at first, but it almost seems like like the slightest of like a yellow tinge. So obviously during the, like the aging or everything like that, like at least the juice would have actually gotten just a little bit darker. And with the cap, I think the difference is you got like just like that solid sort of matte black cap, and then this one you got like that black, but it's got like the clear all along the sides. So anyway, that's the bottles, but we'll go on also now to the notes. So the top notes are yuzu, bergamot, sweet orange, mandarin orange, and at the heart we have got nutmeg, lotus, cinnamon, cardamom, and saffron. And the base we have incense, papyrus, ambergris, benzoin, and amber. Okay, so let's spray each one on first. Start off with the good old 2011. And that really comes out. 2020. Okay. Let it sort of warm up a bit. Okay, so notice like the alcohol in this one actually dissipates. Well, no, at least I didn't get like as much wetness on this, so it's like the alcohol sort of content is probably a bit lower nowadays, because this one's like gone dry very quickly. This one's sort of like still a little bit wet, although it still smells pretty good. Okay, so the one thing you sort of notice, especially if you're familiar with Intense at all, is basically, you got the top notes with all those citruses. Now, they don't sort of really come out like bright as you'd probably expect. I mean, they are definitely fresh and everything, but you got that incense that comes in like straight away and it's all the way through the fragrance. And this one's like the 2020 is much more like fresh than I'm getting from the 2011. The 2011, it's a little bit more dull, but I'm getting more of that incense really coming out. The like especially like the base notes all together, but the papyrus, I'm not even sure too much like what papyrus actually smells like. But then you got like the ambergris, or should I say probably ambroxan, benzoin, and amber. I'm not really getting like sort of like the sweetness from those notes. You sort of expect that, but it seemed to like help a lot with let me see, the incense that really sort of anchors the scent a lot. I mean, like the longevity for both of these, I'm actually getting a good 8 hours. Although I think the only sort of real differences with like the top notes is this one seems to fade out quite a bit quicker, whereas I'm getting like more like a between half an hour to an hour for this one. The top notes and this one actually sort of seems to be about more like 10 minutes. It really doesn't last long, but you kind of expect that because they're more volatile notes, even though they're obviously like high in concentration to the rest of the notes, they're just very fleeting, obviously, because they're citruses. And in terms of the whole, like the whole fragrance, like everything is blended very well, so it's actually a little bit hard to distinguish the notes. I mean, I don't mind that. It's not bad for like something that's a bit more of a fresh fragrance, although I typically like to sort of smell the notes a bit more. But anyway, once those top notes sort of fade, then you get obviously those heart notes with the nutmeg, lotus, cinnamon, and wait, what was it? Cardamom and saffron. So you definitely get the spiciness from both of them. Although it's a bit more punchy in this one, just because of the fact that you got that incense at the base that just, I don't know, it seems to be a bit more concentrated over the time of maturing. So it seems to cloud things a little bit more. Although it is still usable, don't get me wrong. It's just a bit more deeper, if you know what I mean. A bit more smoky. Let me see. And the top, the heart notes seem to sort of fade around the same amount of time. You know, it takes about, it's like about like 5 or so hours. Yeah, about 5 hours until it gets down to the bass notes. And the whole thing, yeah, as I said, it lasts about a good 8 hours. Although it's, you know, when it comes down to the bass notes, it's a little bit, I don't know, like it's easy to detect, but I don't know, it's just not as sharp as you'll get it from the bass notes in this one. But let me see, skin scent. Okay, so it dries down to a skin scent. Usually, it seems to be about a good like 2-3 or so hours at least on this one. Probably about the same on this one. I mean, at least it seems that way. It's probably a bit less. Probably closer to like maybe 1.5, 2 hours. So it doesn't really sort of project as much in terms of duration. Now, one thing is, when it comes down to it, with fragrances, they tend to have a shelf life of about 5 or so years, although I have heard of some actually lasting a lot longer, and usually when they get to around that 5-year mark or so, I've noticed at least some fragrances, what they'll do is they'll actually go this vinegary smell, and it smells very off, and you get like this sort of like almost like a milky sediment at the bottom of the bottle, which I'm not getting any of over here, you know, and I'm not getting any sort of vinegary smell at all either. It's just smoky, and it smells quite nice. It actually smells a bit, I don't know, it smells a bit mysterious, I guess you could say. Like, it's sort of almost leaning towards like that, it's a bottle that I actually had, the Issey Miyake, or on Sons, and sort of leaning more towards that than more of a fresh type of fragrance, like the original Lotus Say Pour On. Now, I'm actually surprised with this one, considering I've had it for 10 years and it's still going. I don't know how long it will go for, but I mean for the moment it's pretty good. It's, you know, I can wear one, like the newer one or the older one, and just get different sort of smells from it. Hell, maybe I'll layer it one time. We'll see what happens there. Who knows? It might actually be a good idea. It might be a bad idea. We'll just see how it goes. But anyway, guys, this has been my comparison between, if I can hold these bottles correct, Issey Miyake, Lotus Say Pour On, Intense, 2011 and 2020. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're all doing well. Please like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more fragrant videos like this straight to your feed. And remember, if you smell good, you feel good. Blessed be to you all. I'll see you on the next video.